Good evening. Welcome to a real live board meeting tonight. It's so refreshing to see people, and we are certainly welcoming you to this wonderful event this evening. We have lots to celebrate. I'll call the meeting to order. It is being live streamed and will be accessible on the YouTube channel of the districts for additional viewing. At this time, with a call to order, I would invite you to please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The board met previously in executive session, and roll call was called at that point of the meeting. I will mention that Mr. Harrell is absent this evening due to a family emergency. But at this point, we would like to celebrate our teachers and our service honor cadre with their recognition, and we will begin with a resolution and resettle ourselves to provide some awards.
I believe President Tuck and Dr. Clemens will be joining us down here. We will get to celebrating each and every one of you tonight. All right. In a year like no other, your colleagues and peers have nominated the individuals that you're about to meet as North Kansas City Schools' best representatives of a culture of excellence. A selective committee then narrowed district-wide nominees down to 24 staff members, 1 volunteer, and 1 business partner. First, here is the board resolution pertaining to the 2021 Culture of Excellence Service Honor Cadre. Whereas employees throughout North Kansas City Schools play an eminent role in the lives of students, and whereas exemplary employee performance serves the mission of the district and thereby serves the school community, and whereas excellence in the workplace provides role modeling for students and colleagues, and whereas those who exemplify peak performance, professionalism, enthusiasm, integrity, adaptability, dependability, and kindness are worthy of special recognition. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the North Kansas City Schools Board of Education recognizes the exceptional contributions made by this district's employees through the acknowledgement of a special cadre known as the 2021 Culture of Excellence Service Honor Cadre. So what we'll do is, as I read your name and share a little bit from your nomination form, I'd ask you to come forward. You'll see President Kauk and Dr. Clemens up on the platform. They'll hand you an award, and we'll take a quick picture with your masks on, and then you'll be ushered back to sit with your family. After we're finished with the entire presentation, you're welcome to exit the auditorium. You don't have to stay for the entire board meeting. And at that time, we've got some goodies on a table outside more towards the cafeteria for you, as well as an opportunity to take pictures with your family and friends who might be here too. All right, let's begin with Dwayne Goldston. Come on down. Always putting others first, Dwayne is the first to offer help in any situation. In between managing COVID protocols seamlessly and connecting with students each day, he has even found time to improve gym facilities, ensuring safety and accessibility for all. Students seek out Dwayne for conversations in the hallway and in the lunchroom, valuing his sense of humor and connection with all at Antioch. Congratulations, Dwayne. Kristen Smith, also from Antioch. In a year of many firsts, Kristen has led through each new change with calm, grace, and enthusiasm. Her dedication to her students at Antioch is clear as she builds strong relationships, meeting students where they are. Kristen's office is never empty. She can often be found helping a student with technology, working through an assignment, or providing support during time of need. She never hesitates to dive into a challenge and is always an advocate for all students. Congratulations, Kristen. Rose Penrose from Chapel Hill. From dressing up as a favorite book character to volunteering to deliver meals to families in need, Rose shows her dedication to the Chapel Hill community each and every day. She has a real talent for finding a just right book for each student and has sparked many reluctant readers' passions for new stories. Unknown to most in the Chapel Hill community, Rose often visits the school on weekends to create chalk art on sidewalks, leaving positive thoughts and fun designs behind. Her warmth and energy are contagious. Congratulations, Rose. Sherry Smith of Shoto. It's all about developing meaningful relationships with each and every student for Sherry Smith. At Shoto, she is known for her clear dedication, endless expertise, and calm leadership under pressure. Sherry serves students in ways beyond their physical needs. She helps Shoto students build confidence, independence, and leadership skills. Families know they can rely on Sherry to be by their side in any situation with genuine care and support. Thank you, Sherry. Karen Jones of Fox Hill. From her very first day at Fox Hill, Karen has been an integral leader in the school community. She is truly dedicated to the students she serves, never hesitating to go the extra mile or provide leadership, even in an emergency. Karen has a knack for knowing exactly what students need, whether it be expert medical care, calm reassurance, or just a warm and welcoming smile. Congratulations. Christine Hatterman Ostermeyer from Maple Park. Dedication, compassion, a wealth of knowledge, and calm in any crisis. This is what Christine brings to the Maple Park community. Students and families alike seek out Christine for her empathetic approach and ability to get to the root of any problem. Working tirelessly behind the scenes, she goes out of her way to do whatever it takes, delivering food to families' homes, connecting with community organizations, and checking in on students in need. Thank you. Ellen Anderson of Maplewood. Whether she is caring for students in the health room, connecting with parents, or encouraging staff to take care of themselves, Ellen Anderson is always there to support the Maplewood community. She is the first to volunteer to lend a hand whenever needed, stepping in to deliver breakfast or visit classrooms as a guest speaker. Her kindness and true generosity inspire students and staff alike at Maplewood. Congratulations, Ellen. Ruth De Dios from Oak Park. An expert leader with a passion for working with students, Ruth is truly making a difference for students at Oak Park. Known for her student-centered approach, she is committed to helping students succeed by providing extra support in the cafeteria and beyond. You can find Ruth outside Oak Park for meal pickup in the rain, sunshine, or snow, leading by example to ensure families have access to the meals they need. She has made the Northman Cafe a warm and welcoming place where all students feel supported, accepted, and valued. Thank you, Ruth. Tammy Slauson from Staley. During a time when many in our community have faced great challenges, Tammy has risen above to serve Staley students, families, and staff. Her optimism and hopeful attitude inspire others to be the best version of themselves. Tammy's door is always open, whether to provide support, connection to resources, or simply expert advice in any tough situation. Tammy is an incredible asset to this daily community. Congratulations. Ivan Peterson from Winnetonka. Ivan has made Winnetonka a warm and inviting home for all those Griffins who are learning English. He has a servant's heart, and that shines through in his work in the classroom and on the field. This year especially, he has stepped up as a true leader and powerful educator, making meaningful connections for all those he serves. You can always count on Ivan to advocate for kids, doing whatever it takes to ensure they are set up for success. Congratulations, Ivan. Alma Perez Reina from Winnetonka. Alma is a natural leader here at Winnetonka, serving the school community and bringing her own unique flair each day. She embraces her Latinx heritage and loves to share it with students, often partnering with culinary classes to demonstrate recipes for her family's favorite dishes. Her warm smile and calm manner make all she meets feel like they're part of the Winnetonka family, and she makes some mean tamales. They're so good. Congratulations. Lastly, in our service honor cadre, Kristen Rivera from Northgate. You can often find Kristen walking the halls at Northgate, connecting with students who may need some extra support throughout the day. She is proactive in developing relationships with parents and community partners, always thinking ahead to benefit the entire school community. Even in difficult situations, she has an incredible ability to simply listen and bring calm. Students, families, and staff alike know they can trust and count on Deputy Rivera every day. Congratulations. Congratulations to all of our 2021 Culture of Excellence Service Honor Cadre members. Now we'll go on. Yep. Clap for them. Now we'll read the board resolution for the 2021 Culture of Excellence Teaching Honor Cadre. Whereas teachers play an extraordinary role in the lives of students in North Kansas City schools, and whereas teachers' contributions to young people, to their colleagues, and to their communities impact America's character, vitality, and viability, and whereas the excellence of many teachers in North Kansas City schools is worthy of special recognition, now therefore, be it resolved that the North Kansas City Schools Board of Education recognizes the exemplary contributions made by this district's teachers through the acknowledgement of a special cadre known as the 2021 Culture of Excellence Teaching Honor Cadre. We'll begin with Cindy Woods from Antioch. There is not a single classroom, curriculum, nor staff member at Antioch unaffected by the work of Cindy Woods. Cindy creates that sense of family for the entire staff and student body of Antioch. Every person who's been associated with Cindy has been positively impacted and influenced by her work. Come this May, she will retire, and we know that Antioch will never be the same without her. Congratulations, Cindy. Vanessa Thompson of Chapel Hill. Ms. Thompson is extremely student-centered. Students and parents alike are thrilled to find out that they have her for a teacher. She has an amazing way of communicating an individualized interest in each of her students and does an excellent job partnering with parents. Vanessa is a tremendous model for others. Congratulations. Carrie Chambers of Clardy. Room 19 is the place to be. The moment you walk in, you feel a deep sense of belonging. Mrs. Chambers' ability to cultivate a learning environment where every child feels chosen and seen is incredibly powerful. Carrie shines a light on each student in her classroom and has a great sense of humor as well. Congratulations. Brooke Ravenscraft from Crestview. A parent shared that one night while leaving Crestview rather late, he and his son saw Brooke's car still in the parking lot. After the dad wondered why Mrs. Ravenscraft would be there so late, his son replied confidently, "Well, she's probably here planning more fun activities for us to do tomorrow like she always does." All can agree that Brooke works hard to empower her students and create their success. Congratulations, Brooke. Denisha Johnson of Davidson. Denisha's excellence is demonstrated by knowing her students academically, socially, and emotionally. She thinks of them first and is invested in their learning and their lives. For her, classrooms are a home first, a place where kids can be themselves, learn, and have fun while knowing they are safe and cared for. Congratulations, Denisha. Audra Simcoe from Fox Hill. Audra creates an engaging, fun classroom in which students feel excited to try out music in a variety of ways. Parents consistently share that their children look forward to music class each week. Younger students say they can't wait to get older to be a part of the extensive before and after school activities Audra has created. She goes above and beyond to ensure the best musical experience possible for students. Congratulations, Audra. Maria Panuco from Golden Oaks. Maria teaches students with autism who can often present extremely challenging and sometimes aggressive behaviors. Maria always responds to students' needs and behaviors with love, compassion, and patience. She cares deeply for her students, and it is demonstrated in the way she talks to them, about them, and with their families. Congratulations, Maria. Haley Cope from Oak Park. Not only is Haley a brilliant teacher, she is also an amazing advocate for students. As a special education teacher, she has found a way to hold students to very high standards and to give them unparalleled support in reaching their goals. She instills confidence in them, helping them realize their talents. They feel loved and accepted when they are with her. Congratulations, Haley. Matt Barrows from Ravenwood. Matt has the most positive and contagious energy. He is masterful at taking ideas and pop culture that students love and turning it into a fun and physical game to get kids moving. He also kept the Ravenwood community engaged during the quarantine by creating challenges for families at home to stay active. He is always connecting students and families and encouraging continual improvement. Congratulations, Matt. Leslie Martin of Staley. Leslie does an amazing job of bringing authentic learning experiences into her classroom for students. They truly understand the why behind what they are learning, seeing how it can be applied long after high school. She always has parent after parent lined up to speak with her at conferences. While that can be a negative sign sometimes, every last one thanks her for the impact that she's had on their child. She is truly invested in the future of her students. Congratulations, Leslie. Jennifer Woods from West Englewood. Jennifer understands the power of relationships, knowing just what is needed to nudge students towards their success. Bringing families into the learning equation, taking things a step further, is the best way that she knows how to serve. She guides students to develop a community that builds instructional and personal growth in a caring, equitable environment. She has high expectations for their growth, to include her own each and every day. Congratulations, Jennifer. And lastly, Carolyn Knapp from Winnetonka. Carolyn has a strong set of expectations that students are able to meet because of her never-failing formula of grace plus love plus accountability. She is also one of the best teachers in the state of Missouri due to her content knowledge, pedagogical skill, and instructional delivery. She is intent on centralizing science as a premier vehicle that will not only enlighten this generation of students, but will serve as a catalyst for their personal exploration. Congratulations, Carolyn. So again, let's honor the 2021 Culture of Excellence Teaching Honor Cadre. And now our Volunteer and Business of the Year. You're not going anywhere. Our Volunteer of the Year is Stephen Mattingly. Come on down. Over the last decade, Stephen Mattingly has volunteered thousands of hours in service of the Winnetonka community. He is a friendly and familiar face at events, games, and beyond, always finding new ways to serve students and staff. Stephen has helped Winnetonka students celebrate countless milestones over the past few years, making special occasions happen behind the scenes by providing letterman's jackets, tuxedos, and even shoes. He consistently steps up for students and staff with support whenever needed, offering back-to-school surprises and summer treats, not to mention serving too many pre-game team meals to count. As a leader and a true role model, he gives his time freely and without expectation. His impact on the Winnetonka community will be felt for generations. Thank you. Our Business of the Year is Feed Northland Kids with Christine Evans serving as Executive Director. During a time when so many have struggled with access to the most basic of resources, Feed Northland Kids has stepped up to serve our North Kansas City Schools community in an incredible way. While Feed Northland Kids has been a key community partner for our district for many years, this year they expanded their efforts to meet the growing needs of our students and families. Their organization has established 2 weekly food distribution centers in our district, providing over 450 families each week with a full box of fresh produce and grocery goods. Feed Northland Kids also works closely with harvesters and our school staff members to make possible our back snack program throughout the district. More than ever, we are so grateful to Feed Northland Kids for all that they do and excited to recognize them tonight as our Business of the Year. Again, we are so proud of the caliber of individuals that we've gathered here together in this room this evening. Congratulations on your well-deserved recognition. I need to thank Tammy Henderson and Kim Giddings for vetting the nominations and organizing this entire process. As we proceed through the remainder of the agenda ahead, again, you're welcome to exit in the back doors there. Head forward towards the cafeteria. You'll find some cookies on tables for you and the opportunity to take more photos. Thank you so much. How nice it was to honor you this evening on behalf of the board.
I'd like to proceed again with the agenda, if I might. At this point of the evening, we have visitor comments, and we have two individuals that have requested to speak. At this meeting, the Board of Education provides an opportunity for visitors to address board members regarding any subject concerning education. They have requested to speak, and both Natalie Scholl and Chrissy Richmond have expressed interest in speaking if you are here. Each individual will be allowed 3 minutes, and while your comments will be heard by board members, we will not respond at this time. We do, however, plan on following up with you regarding your questions or concerns. And because this is an open meeting, we just ask that you refrain from discussing any personnel complaints or individual or staff member concerns. Additionally, I think you are Natalie, correct? Welcome. You're representing Staley and Newmark and have concerns about policies. So, children in both those schools. Thank you.
I can use this, the community microphone?
Yes.
Thank you. For a year now, we parents have been sitting back and observing what's been going on in our schools and the different decisions that have been made, the policies, closures, virtual learning, back to school 2 days a week, full-time now, great. Masks, plastic boxes in the classroom. There's still a lot of fear-mongering going on. Here's the Staley back to school from last week. Students must exit the building immediately after dismissal, remain socially distanced. Keep students physically distanced within the classroom as much as possible. Ensure students are facing the same direction in the classroom. Eliminate physical touching between teachers or students. No handshakes, no high fives, no pats on the back. Frequent use of hand sanitizer. In the library, do not gather, do not social gather. Distance always. Teachers send only one student at a time. Books will sit for 72 hours between circulation. Students will sanitize after using any keypads. Tables sanitized after every use. Students must move quickly to their next class without unnecessary stops. Remain socially distanced. Staff will be outside the classrooms monitoring. Thanks. Classes will operate under essential travel allowance only. Disposable hallway passes, not community. Breakfast and lunch. Once seated at their tables, you can remove their mask, but once you stand up, put it back on. Do you understand the psychological impact this is having on our children? Mentally, physically, emotionally. Do you care? The motto for North Kansas City School District is a champion for all students. But are you really? Many of our K through 12 kids are suffering from anxiety, depression, fear because of what you're implementing, and you are responsible for this. The Missouri Department of Education confirmed to me just yesterday that the school districts ultimately make the choice of what guidance and rules they wish to make. So can you really make up any rules and policies? I think you can. We parents have no say. We don't get a vote whether we think our kids should be in plastic boxes or wear filthy cotton masks all day long. Is it okay with you that our kids are breathing their own germs all day long, getting bacterial respiratory illnesses? What about the asthma kids? Because it's happening. All because of a virus that isn't known to spread in schools. Stop blaming the Clay County Health Board for these ridiculous policies that you make. It is your decision at the end of the day. This has awakened many parents. We are watching, and if we have to, we will find out when your terms are up. We will run against you, and we will win, and we will change policies. Thank you.
Thank you for speaking. And Chrissy Richmond. And Chrissy, you have connections with Staley, Newmark, and Rising Hill. Is that correct? All right.
Board of Education and Superintendent Clemens, thank you for allowing me to speak. North Kansas City Schools welcome back.
Can you hold it a little closer? I'm having a hard time
here.
Yeah.
Is that better? Okay. North Kansas City Schools welcome back students in grades 6 through 12 full-time yesterday as the first time in over a year. While all involved in the process were excited, many students were faced with something they had not seen before during their hybrid schedule: plexiglass surrounding their desktops. Unfortunately, these obstructions to learning are not new to the district. Since last fall, some elementary schools have been installing plexiglass boxes in their classrooms. I shared my concerns with the board members and cabinet, as my 5th grade son's point of view from his desk included looking through a cloudy, scratched up plexiglass box that did not allow him to clearly see the class monitor or board. During this exchange, Mrs. Kalk responded stating, quote, "Plexiglass is not specified in our local health department's guidance. However, they have listened to teacher and parent sentiment to make the best decisions possible." When I asked the Board of Education to provide me with scientific data for this policy, they could not provide us one single source. The fact that the Board of Education based the installation of plexiglass on some teachers and parent sentiment instead of scientific data is uneducated at best. The science behind plexiglass is simply this: the plastic will protect you from ballistic droplets that are expelled when one speaks, coughs, yells, etc. This theory is what led to the CDC's initial 6-foot rule, as these droplets usually fall within 6 feet or less of the person expelling them. However, the CDC has since updated its recommendation to 3 feet as of last Friday. Keep in mind, children at North Kansas City Schools are required to wear a cloth mask while also sitting behind a plexiglass box if implemented in their classroom. Viruses are not confined to ballistic droplets. All viruses travel through the air as an aerosol. Those aerosols, which are smaller particles, can travel longer distances and stay in the air for hours. A recent study from the Division of Infectious Disease at UC San Diego Health published the following: aerosols containing a virus can accumulate in poorly ventilated indoor air. In addition, airflow simulations show that aerosols can go down and around the other side of a barrier and become trapped. Now imagine, you're in a room of 20 students. Each student is surrounded by a plexiglass box. With those partitions up, you've not only disrupted the airflow within the classroom, but you've made it possible for aerosols to become trapped within each box. Ultimately, plexiglass only provides a placebo effect, while in reality, aerosols can be confined within the plexiglass, promoting the spread of any virus. Beyond the actual science, there's a mental toll that hinders learning and affects our children in a negative manner. A professor of English at Plymouth State University stated teaching behind plexiglass reduces the dimensionality of a classroom. The professor is flattened and distanced like they're on a computer screen. From a child's perspective, sitting behind a plexiglass disengages active discussion and ultimately learning. The constant pull of trying to hear and see a teacher, combined with the mental stress of playing catch-up in a year where learning is behind, is a recipe for disaster. The CDC has reported a 24% increase in mental health-related ED visits in children 5 to 11 years old and 31% in children 12 to 17. The mental health of our children has reached a crisis level, and we should not be adding to it in our schools. Parents should have a voice in how and what environment our children are learning. I recommend the removal of all plexiglass from all North Kansas City schools. We need to provide an environment that is physically and mentally safe for all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for joining us, and then just to remind you that we will be responding to you soon. Thank you for your comments tonight. I do want to remind those of you remaining in the room, we do have an election for the board on April 6th, and there are 6 candidates for that election and for 3 seats. And I will name the candidates in the order in which they will appear on the ballot. It begins with Mr. Paul Harrell, Jan Kauk, Jane Reinhardt, Jay Wilson, Andrew Carrero, and Tina Williams. Now move for the approval of the agenda. Do I hear a motion? There's a second.
Second.
Moved and seconded for approval of the agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye. Aye. And opposed, same sign. And the agenda is approved. Move to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion for? Move. Do I have a second? Second, Ms. Wartek. And treasurer's report.
Thank you, Madam President. The treasurer's report is favorable. The treasurer's report is favorable to where we wanted to be at this point in the year. There are several things helping us with that. Our receipts are running according to plan, and our expenditures are running under plan. That's always a good equation. Clay County's collector's office is collecting at the rate we had anticipated. The state of Missouri is collecting faster than was done last year and faster than their budget for this year. Based on that, the governor has released the withholding that he had made earlier for $280 million, and our portion of that is roughly $5 million, and so that's $5 million that was withheld, and we will have it back as cash in our budget. So that's money we had counted on, but we're worried about whether we can receive, and we will. We're not sure about what next year's budget holds. This is the time of year where we're sitting here in March, and by the 15th of May, the legislature will have acted and set the budget for next year.
You're fading in and out.
I'm sorry. Thank you. We're at that point in the time of the year where the legislature is meeting and they'll be setting the budget for next year. At this point, collections are such that we would anticipate no reduction in budget from this year, and we would expect them to continue to maintain full funding of the foundation formula next year. But the legislature has not put forth a proposed budget, nor have they acted on it. In 2 months, we'll have a better answer on that one. So there's my report, Madam President.
Thank you.
And Matt or I would be more than happy to answer any questions that you have.
Any questions? That report, thank you. Other items on the agenda, any other questions or? All right, at this point we have a motion and a second for approval of the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye. 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 And opposed, same sign. And the consent agenda is approved. We have one item under the consent items for separate consideration, and that is personnel, resignations, retirements, leaves, and appointments. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Been moved by Mr. Stone. Second by Dr. Ward. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval of the consent items for separate consideration, personnel say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Same sign. Abstentions?
Abstain.
Mrs. Wartek abstained. And I do believe we have some introductions. Dr. Gaddy.
We do. Thank you very much. It is my honor tonight to make some introductions this evening. First, I would like to introduce Miss Kawan Cummings. Miss Cummings will be our new principal at Linden West Elementary. Ms. Cummings is currently serving in her second year as an assistant principal at the elementary campus of the Hogan Preparatory Academy. Prior to that, Ms. Cummings spent 5 years within the Kansas City, Kansas Public Schools as an instructional coach, an assistant principal, and Mrs. Cummings also has many years of experience in several roles within the Kansas City, Missouri Public Schools, including principal of Gordon Parks Elementary, instructional instructional coach and classroom teacher at African Centered Preparatory Academy in the lower campus and Banneker Elementary. She also taught in the Center School District. Ms. Cummings earned her bachelor's, master's, and educational specialist degree through the University of Missouri, Kansas City, emphasizing in elementary education, special education, and education administration. Welcome, Kawan Cummings. Next, I'd like to introduce Miss Leah Chamberlain. Miss Leah Chamberlain will be the new principal at Nashua Elementary School. Ms. Chamberlain's career in education began as a 5th grade teacher within the Odessa School District, and after 2 years, Ms. Chamberlain transitioned to the role of parent educator in the Warrensburg School District Parents as Teachers program. North Kansas City Schools hired Ms. Chamberlain as a classroom teacher at Northview Elementary in 2014, where she spent 5 years there. In 2019, Ms. Chamberlain was appointed assistant principal at Gracemore, and that's the role she's currently serving in. Ms. Chamberlain was also a graduate of the 2018-19 Superintendent's Leadership Institute, where she was the Vicki L. Baker Leadership Award recipient for the cohort. Northland Regional Chamber of Commerce named Ms. Chamberlain a 2018 Excellence in Education Award winner. Ms. Chamberlain completed a bachelor's degree in elementary education through the University of Missouri at St. Louis, a master's degree in curriculum and instruction at the University of Central Missouri. She earned a specialist degree in elementary school administration through Northwest Missouri State University and has begun her doctoral work at St. Louis University. Congratulations, Leah Chamberlain. Our next introduction is Ms. Tina Hines Booth. Ms. Hines Booth will be the new principal at Topping Elementary School. Ms. Hines Booth is currently in her 7th year as principal of Genesis School in Kansas City, Missouri. Previously, she worked as the Dean of Instruction and Student Support at Smith Hill Middle School within the Hickman Mills School District. She also has additional experience as a teacher leader, a vice principal, and an instructional coach. Ms. Hines Booth is currently participating in the Educational Policy Fellowship Program. Ms. Hines Booth earned her bachelor's degree in speech communication at Missouri Western State University. At the University of Central Missouri, she obtained both a master's degree in curriculum and instruction and a specialist degree in elementary and secondary administration. She'll begin her doctoral work this spring through Hampton University. Welcome, Tina Hines Booth. Next, we're appointing Ms. Christy Collins as the new Director of College and Career Pathways for the 21-22 school year. Ms. Collins began her career in education in 2017 as a high school business and avid teacher with Kansas City, Missouri Public Schools. After 2 years, she transitioned to the role of Career and Technical Education Coordinator and was promoted to the Assistant Director of Career and Technical Education in October of 2020. Prior to working with KCPS, Ms. Collins was a banker at Missouri Bank and Trust. She earned a bachelor's degree in business administration and management, as well as a master's of business administration degree, both from Park University. She is currently working toward a specialist degree at the University of Missouri at Kansas City as part of the Kansas City Plus program. Welcome, Christy Collins.
Well, welcome to all of you with your esteemed backgrounds and experience. We really look forward to welcoming you into the family and looking for a great school year next year. We feel very fortunate to have you join our team. Thank you for coming tonight so that we can meet you as well. Appreciate that. The next item is on to new business. And we'll begin with 5.01, Work-Based Learning Resolution. Dr. Sutton.
Good evening. As we begin to transform our high schools into college and career pathways, one of the critical elements to the success of this transformation is going to be the development of our work-based learning continuum. And in order to have a strong work-based learning continuum, we must have strong partnerships with our industry partners. And what this resolution does is it allows us to secure some partnerships as we put out RFPs as a district and contracted services. We'll build in an agreement for our partners to provide some work-based learning experiences for our students. So I think this is going to be an opportunity for us to really give back and partner with some of our vendors and contractors for years to come and provide our kids with some really high-quality learning experiences.
Very good. Are there any questions for Dr. Sutton on the resolution? It's in your packet. I would entertain a motion for approval.
I move approval of the work-based learning resolution, which sets up a partnership program between us and our vendors.
I have a second.
I second.
Ms. Reinhardt, thank you. Any other questions? All right, we have a motion and a second for approval of the work-based learning resolution with addition of business partners in our contracts. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? And the resolution passes. Thank you. Item 5.02 is the resolution authorizing the public sale of general obligation bonds. And I invite Mr. Fritz up to speak to that.
Thank you, President Kalk. Before you this evening is the second part of our original authorization for $155 million worth of bonds to support our growing school needs for the district. Back in June, we had an election to approve these bonds. We were approved. We issued $95 million back in July, August timeframe of last year. This is to a go-to-market resolution to approve us to start the process for the next issuance of the remaining $60 million authorized. As we have gone throughout the year, our original plan was to look again in the July timeframe. We've kind of moved up that timetable due to recent market conditions, rising interest rates, and just the supply and demand of bonds that will be available to the public. We'd like to get out ahead of any authorizations that are authorized this April. So, any questions? I will turn it back over to you, Madam President.
Any questions or comments for Mr. Fritz? I personally appreciate the anticipation of the changing marketplace, so really close monitoring of that. I would entertain a motion for approval of the resolution authorizing public sale of general obligation bonds.
Madam President, I move approval of the resolution authorizing sale of $60 million in new construction bonds, continuing a tradition in this district of maintaining close fiscal accountability and seeking opportunities when they present themselves in the marketplace. So I enthusiastically present this for the board's approval.
Okay. We have a motion. I have a second.
Second.
Mr. Stone, second. Then all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And opposed, same sign. And the resolution is approved. Thank you, Mr. Fritz. Next item is the academic calendar amendment, and Dr. Gaddy is going to make that presentation.
Thank you. In response to feedback and working in conjunction with CTTN, we are proposing that Wednesday, April 28th, be used as a day for teacher-directed professional development, collaboration, and planning. April 28th will also provide students with an at-home opportunity to catch up on schoolwork and prepare for the weeks coming ahead. It is intended that no new learning would take place on this day, and all staff would report to their typical work site. At this time, the recommendation is that the board approve the amended 2021 academic calendars showing April 28th as a professional development day for staff. Madam President, I would turn it back to you for any questions.
Okay. And to the board, any questions? We've discussed this briefly at the last meeting. Do I have a motion? So moved. Ms. Reinhardt, and a second? Ms. Carrie Miller? All right. So it's been moved and seconded for approval of the academic calendar amendment as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, same sign. And the calendar is approved. Thank you very much, Dr. Gaddy. And I believe you are up next for the probationary teacher contract.
Yes,
Renewal.
ma'am. The Board of Education has a statutory obligation to notify our probationary certificated staff of our intent to reemploy them for the next school year by April 15th. Human Resources has been working through the necessary tasks to meet this requirement, and we've presented with you the list of probationary teachers we're asking you to renew. Upon receiving Board of Education approval, we will notify those probationary teachers of our intent to reemploy them in writing ahead of the April 15th deadline. At this time, I would ask that you would approve the 21-22 contract renewal for the enclosed list of probationary teachers. Madam President, I'd be happy to entertain any questions.
Any questions for Dr. Gaddy? And you did receive the approved list, your packets? Yes?
I'm just curious, what
Mr. Stone?
percentage of eligible teachers pass muster?
We work really hard. I don't have that percentage. I can get that for you, but we work really hard with our principals ahead of time to coach those teachers who are not passing muster to make that decision prior to this date.
Any other questions? Okay, you have a motion? So moved. And moved by Ms. Reinhardt.
Second.
Second by Mr. Stone. All those in favor of approval of the probationary teacher's contract renewal, say aye. Aye. And opposed, same sign. Any abstention?
I abstain.
One abstention. The next item is teachers reaching tenure contract renewal. And again, Dr. Gaddy.
Thank you. Again, you've received the list of teachers that will be receiving their permanent tenured contract upon the approval of the list. At this time, we would ask that you would vote to approve the renewal for the enclosed list of probationary teachers that will attain tenure at the end of this school year. Madam President, I would turn it back to you.
Okay, any questions? Although this seems rather routine, it really is so critical, and there are so many excellent individuals that are listed on these lists, and we appreciate the hard work and the preparation and the services that these individuals represent in our district. We could not do things without them. So, do I have a motion?
I move approval of the tenure teacher contract renewals as presented.
Second.
Been moved by Ms. Wardick and seconded by Dr. Ward. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And opposed, same sign. Any abstention? And the motion has been approved. Thank you very much. Item 5.06 is the 2021-22 teacher salary schedule, and I'm going to begin, I believe, with Dr. Clemens making a comment.
Yes, Madam President, thank you so much for sending it my way. I tell you what's with great excitement today that our team, our CTTN team, has been working on a proposal to present to you for your consideration tonight. I just want to start off by showing my appreciation to the Board of Education for your continued work during this pandemic. We brought several things for your consideration, and I think you've done an outstanding job of supporting our teaching staff and as well as our students. Items like going from 5 days to 4 days last year during the pandemic to provide some time for virtual catch-up and no new assignments was key for us finishing strong. Reducing the teacher contract down by 5 days at the end of last year when people were frustrated and tired, I think was a sign of how much you appreciated the work that staff was doing. Covering the 8% benefits package increase that we've seen this year certainly is key to showing support for our staff. And so what you're going to see tonight is our best work with CTTN, and certainly want to thank them for all of their work and consideration. It's the best package we have seen since 2004-05 school year. And so that didn't happen by accident. Certainly like to thank our finance department, our CTTN group, but also all of our staff that sacrificed during budget cuts this fall. We certainly reduced our budget to match the withholdings of our state and to also fund our PPE purchases. And when money came in to cover those pieces and the governor released the money, it left North Kansas City in an optimal position, a position we wouldn't have been in if we wouldn't have handled business correctly early on, and I'm very thankful for that. I do want to say that we are talking about teachers today, and I know that will not go unnoticed, your support of them, but we will be visiting about administrators and classified staff at our next meeting in a similar fashion. So, Madam President, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Fritz to kind of share some of the more details of our proposal to you tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Clemens and Madam President. I'm going to try and do this without holding the microphone and just project a little bit. Can everybody hear that all right? Okay, good. What I'd like to start off with is really is a collaborative effort. We work through a very consistent process to develop what our goals are, which are clearly stated by the board, the median of the upper 1/3. We work together to establish what that pot of money is using the NEA calculations for new revenue in a year. And we work together to complete that and then decide how exactly do we best utilize those funds that are available to us to enhance our teachers' salary schedule. I think we ended up in, as Dr. Clemens mentioned, we ended up in a fantastic spot, in large part due to careful planning and some good news happening to us along the way. So with that, I'll get into some more specifics within the schedule. This year's schedule allows for step and lane movement, which is part of board policy. Additionally, this schedule adds 3.75% to the base. And what that means, Corey, if you could put up the actual salary schedule so that we can see what that looks like. Each cell, each box on this salary schedule went up by 3.75%. And then also we are providing that step and lane movement. As you can see in those first 5 columns, teachers automatically move diagonally down. I shouldn't say automatically, they move diagonally down in those first 5 years as they progress through their career, and then as they earn those different levels of additional education requirements, they move all the way across and then down that schedule. So that's really the gist of how the schedule works. I know most of you know this already, but the big thing that I will add to this is we have overall for our average salary increase, I know in the board memo we said approximately 5.5. We've done some additional calculations. It's a little bit higher than that with step and lane movement. It's about 5.7, 5.75% on average for every single spot or every single teacher on that schedule moving through the schedule. A couple places where that's not the case. Well, one place where that's not the case is the very end. That end of the schedule, that I think was it 25 steps? Yeah, 20 steps, something like that.
25.
Yeah, 25. Okay, sorry, I couldn't remember. Once we get to 25, the 25th step, we're at the very top end of that schedule. There's nowhere to go, and so that cell, just as every other cell in the schedule, increased by 3.75%. So that's how we get into that average increase overall. There'll be over 700 folks on that salary schedule that receive a raise that's greater than 6%. There's over 150 that will receive a raise that's greater than 7.25%. We have only 40 folks that are at that very top end that were also at that top end last year. So those are some of the statistics. I will turn it back to you, Madam President, for any additional questions.
Okay. There are questions or comments? Mr. Fritz or Dr. Cummings? Yes.
As you indicated, Mr. Fritz, this is higher than we've been able to do in, I think you said 16 years effectively. And I think in part it's appropriate for the board to stretch out a little bit because our teachers certainly in the last year have stepped up to a challenge that was unprecedented, and so I think this board should strongly consider the recommendation coming from CTTN and do what we can to indicate to our teachers that their efforts are appreciated by each and every one of us.
Others?
Great news. Agree with Dr. Ward on what he said, and just the thought that what we've been able to do here, maybe we need to take another look at our goal and start to match up with where we are and stay there. So I think it's a great step in the right direction.
Ms. Reinhardt?
I guess the question that I have is.
Can you?
I can hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry. Is like, I know one of our goals was to be within percentages of other districts, particularly not just necessarily at the beginning, but throughout. And is this indicative of that throughout the schedule?
Yes, so what I would say is our board goal, I'll just kind of restate it, is being at the median of the upper 1/3 of our 3 benchmark spots. And our 3 benchmark spots are the beginning of the salary schedule, the master's plus 10 years, and the highest end of the schedule. Prior to the schedule being updated, we were at 3rd, 4th, and 4th, respectively, with the 12 comparative districts, and we were $163 short of the median of the upper 1/3 at the beginning. We were $1,068 short at the master's plus 10, and we were $2,604 short of the median of the upper 1/3 at the highest step. After updating this schedule, the one that you see before you tonight, we are first at the beginning step at 41.5. We are in second place, I guess, if you will, in the comparative districts at the master's plus 10, and we're in the third spot in the high end of the schedule. Each one of those dollar values would get us to the above the median of the upper 1/3 for each one of those spots.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Other comments or questions? I do, this year has been extraordinary in so many ways, and at the beginning of the year, it seemed like it could be very bleak, and instead, the CTTN process this time is bringing us an opportunity to meet the board's goals and to exceed what my expectations were of what this year might bring. I think it's a huge opportunity for us to continue to meet the board's goals to retain our staff and to attract staff and to honor our staff that have worked so very, very hard. I certainly will support this, and the fact that we can bump up an average at 5.75 is just really, truly remarkable. Added to that, our prior action to maintain a no-cost increase to our employees for their dental and health package, I think that's really significant. And again, I think it's a symbol of how much we really do value our staff. So at this point, I also have a comment from Mr. Harrell, who unfortunately, due to a death of an uncle, was not able to be here in person tonight, but I do want to read his quote. I want the record to reflect that I am in support of the 2021-22 teacher salary schedule proposal. I appreciate the work of CTTN in the development of this competitive schedule and pleased that it meets our joint goal across the 3 benchmark cells. I view this proposal as a Board of Education commitment to attract and retain quality teachers. Thank you, Paul Harrell. At this point, I would entertain a motion for approval of the teacher schedule as presented.
So moved.
And moved by Mr. Stone. Second by Dr. Ward. All those in favor of approval say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And opposed, same sign. And the teacher salary schedule is approved. And we look forward to next month's business that looks at the rest of our staff. And I would just say our action tonight, hopefully it serves as a rather large thank you note for the teachers and our staff for your dedication. I was thinking we should have had Jimmy Fallon and the Roots here for thank you notes, but since we couldn't bring them, we'll just extend our thank you. So thank you so much. Thank you also financial staff and all of the work that you did to pull our numbers together so well. Appreciate that. At this point, we will move on to board and superintendent reports and discussion and the COVID update. And Dr. Clements, did you want to begin that as well?
Sure. Thank you, Madam President. We are back in school, 2 days. It has been a great joy to see more of our kids at school. I want to say that I believe our first couple of days have gone very well. I've heard of a couple of bottlenecks as more parents are bringing kids to school rather than sending them on the bus, which we completely understand. But our students seem happy. Seeing Twitter again just light up with all the activities of our staff working with our kids certainly has reinvigorated me as we are moving forward. But we still have plenty of things in place that we're going to take care of, and I know that Perry will share those. I would like to say I had the opportunity to meet with 9th graders here at Winnetonka High School today, just to listen to how their experience was, that they're kind of the first time being in a high school. And they were a delightful group of students to visit with, and I appreciated having the opportunity. When I asked them what their greatest fears were, I thought it was interesting. It was meeting new people, making sure they know where to exit the building and such. And so I really had to push them and talk about COVID because that wasn't top of mind. And I think we have to remember kids, our students, they're so wonderful. They're so eager to get back and do the things that they used to do and meet new students. And a couple of young people said, it's going to be better to get that homework done now that we're back in school and are here every day. And the routines are important. The only negative they gave me was they're getting up a little earlier than they've been getting up, but they promised that they would adjust to that, and I believe that spring break next week will give them just a little bit of rest before we pop into the final 8 weeks of our school. So I have to tell you, it's been hard to get the smile off my face behind this mask for the last couple of days as I just see a lot of happy kids back in our schools, and I'm certainly very, very thankful to our reopening teams at each building, our teachers who have welcomed kids back wholeheartedly, have overcome their fears, our friends at CTTN that has helped us figure out the conditions in which we need to provide for our students, and just our classified staff that ensure we got them there, fed them, the buildings were clean. Just overall, couldn't be more proud of our 3,600 employees and 21,000 kids, and it's just heaven right now. So with that, I'll turn it over to Perry, and I hope you have good news.
I do. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present tonight. I have a very short update. I'm going to start with prevalency rates. Every Monday I run numbers for the last 14 days. I'll stand back here. Over the last 14 days, the last time I ran the numbers, our numbers were so low that we only had one case that on average per day throughout the entire 14 days. That's pretty much all-time low for quite some time. We've had 0 clusters. I talked to you about clusters are one thing we're going to look at, and we haven't had any of those, and we've only had 1 secondary transmission in the last 14 days. So we're very happy that all of those numbers are where they're at. I'm sure there will be some ups and downs as we move forward, but if we can stay anywhere close to those numbers, we'll be in pretty good shape. I know there's been some talk about the CDC's latest update concerning students moving from 6 feet of separation to 3 feet as long as masks are worn. This is in line with Clay County Public Health Clinic and Children's Mercy's guidelines, and these are the same guidelines that we have been following from the very beginning. So no big changes for us. This week, excited to announce that we're having our on-site vaccination clinics. We've got one coming up tomorrow, and we've got one coming up on Friday. And a special thanks to our partner, Truman Medical Center, for coming to our site to provide our staff with shots. By the time we get to Friday, anyone who wanted a shot will have had the opportunity to get one. The vaccinations that are being delivered are Pfizer, and so we'll be doing this again in 3 weeks to get the second dose. My best guess, given all the numbers that have been reported to me, is that when we get done on Friday, we will have approximately 80 to 82% of our staff who have been vaccinated against the COVID virus. With that, I would like to go ahead and turn it over to you, Madam President, and your board for any questions that you may have.
And to the board, are there any questions?
I'd like to just acknowledge the hard work that your office has done, Dr. Helvitz, for getting us to the point that we are this week, and I'm sure that the staff have been overwhelming with requests and trying to get their needs met, and I know that you're working hard to meet those individual needs, so thank you for going above and beyond.
Thank you.
And I would also reiterate that. I mean, it's just been monumental, the number of people that we've been able to get vaccinated, and, you know, it's really great that they're able to do that, and I know Perry's worked really, really hard to make this happen for everybody, so thank you.
Thanks.
Have we kept track, have we kept track, or are we keeping record of staff that would have gotten vaccinated outside of the districts?
So most of our staff let me know when they got a vaccine and that they weren't going to be participating in our clinic. We had an early on clinic at the Truman Medical Center for the people who qualified in the previous phase. We've had a ton of staff just in the last 2 weeks go out to Hy-Vee and other places to get their vaccinations. Operation Safe has provided a number of vaccinations to folks. And that actually takes some of the burden off of us, so that we're going to do well over 1,000 vaccinations here. It's going to allow for a smoother flow by being able to rely on some of those other outside folks to help move our people along. So I was excited to hear every day that more and more of our people were out there chasing down vaccinations and getting themselves taken care of.
Others? I just add my thank you as well, and know that you have paddled very, very quickly underwater, and everything has remained pretty smooth on the top end. So thank you so very much. You and your entire team have really worked extraordinarily hard.
Thank you very much.
Our next item of business is the Bond 41 update, and Dr. Evans.
Thank you, Madam President. And I will, I always check in with Perry every morning to see how many people have signed up, because I know the logistical piece that Dr. Vokalek and those guys have been putting together relies heavily on what we get. And he said Perry said he was going through 507 emails this morning, he and his team. So I can tell you that they are doing a great job of servicing our staff. So with that being said, thank you for that, and we'll go to the first slide, Corey. With tonight's approval from the Board of Education for the rest of our bonds, I thought it was important for us to recognize that still, Matt isn't allowing me to go over that $155 million. He's still watching me very closely, and I appreciate that. He and his team worked very hard with my team and McCallum Gordon to ensure that we are on budget. And I'm happy to report tonight that we are on budget. We have over $130 million bid and approved by the Board of Education. And so with that being said, we feel good. We have good contingencies in place, but I think it's important for us to recognize that that is our number, that's our target, and we continue to track very well on that number. Next slide, please. This is the project that was first out of the gate, as we know. As you can see, the expenditures show that, and we know that accordingly. We are planning to get that building back to us in April, mid-April, with only a few things remaining, some graphics and things. But as you can see, this project is well on its way, and I believe the Board of Education will get even a closer look at it at our next board meeting, perhaps. So we look forward to that project being completed. And so far, so good. We are feeling really comfortable about where we are in that budget as well. So very excited to complete that phase 2 of that project. Go ahead to the next one, please. The next slides are just individual project reminders. I think it's important for the board to see and be able to track with us where we are on each one of our projects. These are ones that have kicked off. And if you drive by Winnetonka and Oak Park, you'll see that, well, I guess we're here at Winnetonka. You'll be able to see outside how much work is being done. But there's also work going on inside the building, too. So I wanted to recognize that we have added Maplewood and Davidson on these individual graphs as well. Matt added those after the board approved in February those completed project, those GMPs. So you'll see at the end of these bar graphs, Maplewood and Davidson. Corey, go ahead to the timeline. The timeline, what I want to talk to you guys about, or the Board of Education tonight, is that we are actually starting a lot of our 1B projects over spring break. With the work of the principals of Choteau, Antioch, and Maplewood, because of the scope of the 1B deferred maintenance projects, we are getting into those buildings over break and beginning some of that demo work. We really appreciate that the principals are allowing us in the buildings. It's just the scope, the flooring, the bathrooms, the things that we're doing in some of these buildings. 2 months would not allow us that time to be open and ready to go by the openest school of the 21-22 school year. So we are starting those projects. We're also getting ready, hopefully, to kick off with Davison as our groundbreaking, as you know, was this morning. We feel pretty good that project, we've already begun at Maplewood, and Gateway, we feel that project will be up and going within the next week or so as well. Go ahead to the next one, Corey. Tonight also, with the approval of the consent agenda, we talk about the project at Wynwood Elementary. Now, this project has been talked about by the Board of Education and by the administration in North Kansas City for quite some time. And I asked Tammy to kind of give me the background, the history of that, as I was not involved from the very beginning. Tammy's not here tonight. She's in Jefferson City with doing some legislative work for us. But she did send an email and a report that she wanted me to read to the Board of Education and the community this evening. She says, for years, the playground at Wynwood Elementary School has been located across a 44th Street from the school. At one time, several years ago, the district looked into having the street vacated and from the city to create a safer passage for our students. We were not able to get this done, but soon after, a patron reached out to Kansas City, Missouri Councilwoman Heather Hall's office requesting something be done to make access to the playground safer for the Wynwood's community. Through some research and work, Marcus Smith, Heather's assistant, reached out to the district and to Kansas City, Missouri Parks to see what could be done. Turns out, the location of the playground was actually on land owned by KC Parks and Rec, Kansas City Parks. There had been some dispute over that over the years and some tough conversations, but we were glad to find out finally who owned what, and so we could move forward. As NKC schools, the Kansas City Parks and Councilwoman Hall worked through the issue, it was decided that the existing playground area would be repurposed to the parking lot, repurposed as a parking lot for teachers, and the play area would move adjacent to the school, which is now where the teachers and staff park, creating a much safer environment for our students. This was accomplished through an agreement with Kansas City Parks and Rec and the North Kansas City School District, and the BO and the Board of Education approved it November 25th, 2019. This agreement allowed North Kansas City schools to wait and move the playground until a later date. And because of the approval tonight by this Board of Education, Jeff's going to talk about when we're going to start that project, which is very, very soon. So, Jeff?
Yeah, thank you. And Corey, could we back up just one slide? Or I just wanted to, we've talked about this, but I kind of wanted to give you all a visual on that as well. So in this picture here, Wynwood is actually behind us, and you see the crosswalk going across Northeast 44th Street over to the playground, and those kids have gone across 44th Street forever to what turns out to be Parks property. And so across what you see there is now going to become a staff parking lot. We're actually going to leave that play structure in place. That'll become a part of the Kansas City Parks Wynwood Park over there. And if we go to the next slide, the picture on the left, this is where we're going to put our new play structure. This is the northwest corner of the Wynwood property, an existing staff parking lot. So about where that gray car is, from there and beyond, that goes north, that will be a new play structure and a new hard play area right there. So kids will no longer have to go over there. And again, lots of thanks to all of those who've been involved in all these years, and to Kansas City Parks and Rec for making this happen. I want to show you some construction slides too. If we go on to the next slide, Early Education Center. You heard Dr. Evans say this will be turned over to us mid-April. Which is right. I showed you a slide similar to this last month, where we had the artist rendering of the yellow pod and what it looks like. This has been progressing a little bit slower than I wanted it to, and that's because of, if we go to the next slide, it's because of this green pod here. So the green pod has two columns that fall right in the middle of the corridor, and we knew that was going to happen. So what do you do with columns that fall in the middle of the corridor? Well, you make trees out of them, of course. And so these trees have turned out to be quite a complex thing for McCown Gordon to build and to figure out how to make these work. And they have 52 large leaves, and these things are like 6 to 8 foot in diameter, and they have been like scattered everywhere through there. And so that, once we get this tree up and the leaves on, that'll allow us to get a lot of floor in, and it'll finish up in a snap. So it's going to be pretty spectacular. So you guys will get to see that next month. If we go to the next slide, Oak Park High School. It's coming along really well. Here's a couple of pictures of the new front entrance on the south side. They're starting to get that enclosed, and that's going to go real fast after they get that enclosed. The next slide should be Winnetonka High School. Weather has not been cooperating with us on the outside, but we have been doing some work on the inside. We've been able to work with Dr. Johnson and his administration here to allow us to get into some spaces and begin working there. So, and as we get farther along in the semester, there's going to be more and more work we'll see happen on the inside. The next slide is Staley. You see there's some footing starting to go in out there, and so that'll be exciting to get that in and start to see that go vertical a little bit. The next slide is Gateway 6th Grade Center. We're just on the cusp of getting that last permit that we need on there, but there have been some construction activities going on that you may not see. We've been working with a precaster. A lot of that gymnasium will be precast panels, and so we've been working with them to get a precast that's going to blend with the existing building. The next slide is Maplewood Elementary. That one we've been able to do some site work on that, and it may look like it's been sitting there doing nothing, but that's because the soil, we needed to grade out that building pad, the soil, and then it had to sit for so many days so it would settle. And so that's what it's been doing. It's settling, and we're there now where we need to be. And so we've mobilized on site, have a job trailer, and so that one's going to be taken off pretty quick. I did not include Davidson because we were just out there this morning and had a nice groundbreaking out there, and we'll be getting going on that one pretty soon as well. And with that, we'll turn it back over to you, Madam President, for any questions that you or the board may have.
Sure, questions? Any on this end of the table?
I don't have any question, but I will comment on the Wynwood crossing. I spent 17 years supervising that playground in the 80s and 90s, and it warms my heart that it's finally going to be brought over to the property site, because that has been a hazard where a teacher is a crossing guard the entire recess period as children go back inside for restroom, drink, nurse's office, check in with the teacher. It's constantly taking someone's attention to be a crossing guard as well as supervising the playground. So that is going to be a wonderful addition to Wynwood.
Well, I spoke with you privately, Jeff, but I just wanted to share with you that the teachers that I've talked to and the staff and whatever are thrilled with the progress that's being made. They're really, really looking forward to getting into their new buildings, getting onto their new playgrounds, making these kind of things happen. So thank you again.
Mr. Stone? No. Just a shout out to Councilwoman Hall and Parks. There's been several things that we have had, sidewalks and other things that have kind of sat for many years, and we've really struggled with them, but it's nice to see those move, so I really appreciate that specifically. So good job, exciting. Thank you very much. All right, we are now to our board liaison reports, and I'll start on this end of the table. Is there anything that you would like to report? Mr. Stone.
I attended the groundbreaking at Davidson this morning. Very, very nice ceremony. Looking forward to seeing it go up.
And I too was at Davidson. It was just fun and it was exciting, and I was just happy to be out among people and after being cloistered for so long. And then I get my second vaccine shot this Friday along with the rest of the group down at Truman, so I'm really pleased about that. Again, thank the school district for making that happen. Appreciate it.
Right. Dr. Ward.
I've commented to this board that one of the things I was doing was working on the revisions to the city ordinances covering tax incentives, and I'm pleased to say that the ordinance passed. It has a 128-day effective date, and we're 30 days into that 120 days. And for some of you that have followed it, these numbers will be significant, I think, in that what it includes is a cap, which can be violated if everybody agrees to it, of 70% abatement for 10 years, 30% for 5 years, and a total of 15. For some of us that have fought 100% abatements in 23 and 25 years, that's progress. Yeah. That's dramatic progress. So effectively, although there were some people that wanted 50% for 10 years, what we ended up with was, on average, 57% for 15 years, and so that's good news. The second thing that we got that we were very interested in getting was that all incentive programs will use the same caps. We'd been dealing with a situation for the last 20 years where developers shopped the deal. Whoever would give them the best deal, they would go there for that incentive or over here. And so there were 7 or 8 boards doing different deals, different ways. And it was a challenge for our staff to keep up with all of them and to keep that there. The third thing is they agreed to early notification of all the taxing jurisdictions. So, excuse me, the details aren't all worked out on that, but the idea would be as soon as any developer files for an incentive, the taxing jurisdictions would be notified. So rather than some of the things where we've gotten notice that there would be a hearing in 2 days and now run fast and catch up, this should give us 4 to 8 weeks notice on every project that's seeking incentives. There will be a new advanced KC scorecard. The city manager was given the assignment to develop that, and 30 days in, he has yet to assemble his working group to work on that, and so I cannot report on who is or will be on that working group. So all in all, it's a significant improvement over the policy environment that's existed for the last 20-some years and should put us in a lot better shape going forward. Hopefully, it will enable us to move to a position where we're working with the development community to make things happen that we all need to have happen, because too often the schools have been painted as anti-development. It's not the truth. It never has been the truth. But this sets us up to where we can be more active as partners in seeking and causing development. So I'm very pleased with that. On another front, our committee, North Kansas, the school district and Kansas City committee, has not met, but we've worked Tammy Henderson extremely hard for the last 3 months, rescheduling the meeting on about an every 3-week basis. So she's becoming very adept at scheduling that meeting. And we have a date set, and we'll see whether the next one makes. Thank you. And if there's any questions on the ordinance, I'd be...
No, I just want to publicly thank you for your endurance on this process, and that really is progress. I think schools across the city will be better for it, and I know it's not been a quick or expedient process, but you've been very patient. Thank you for representing us.
Thank you.
Vortek, nothing? Carrie, nothing? I too attended the Davidson groundbreaking, and Gracie, our poet, and our artists that did shovels were just heartwarming. It just really made my day. It is so nice, as Jane said, to be back amongst people and to see our students again and to help reground us in the work that we do and the mission that we're about. So I really enjoyed that, and I appreciate everyone that planned. The other highlight of that was that the Davidson family was present, and they are graduates of Davidson School and had a lot of history, but they were all so proud of the potential that's ahead of us and very embracing around the future of our district. So I appreciated meeting them and hearing their good words. The other was that we had a PTA candidate forum, and all 6 candidates were present, and the PTA council sponsored that and did a really wonderful job of pulling that together. We had 3 debate students from 3 of our high schools that offered questions, and again, it warmed my heart to see what great job our teachers and our students are doing in learning and preparing themselves for their future. They were very articulate, and the questions were really terrific. I think everyone there agreed with that. So thank you, PTA, for continuing to do that. Our next meeting is on April 13th. It's a board workshop. It's at 7 p.m. and I think it's posted in our packet at Doolin, but I believe it's at the Early Childhood Center. Is that correct?
Yes, Madam President. We'd like to have a discussion on the future of early childhood and what that's going to look like, and would like some input from our Board of Education as we do that. So we thought it might be nice to see the second phase. Yeah, I know. Let them get away without doing that. Are you there now? Okay. So yes, we would like to go to the Early Childhood Center, see the second phase, but also have a robust conversation with the Board of Education about strategic planning and the future of early childhood in our school district.
Excellent. Also, I see Dr. Johnson there in the back. I thank you for hosting our meeting this evening here at Winnetonka. It's always nice to be out in our schools. Is there any further business to come before the board? It's been a wonderful meeting of recognition. I really appreciate everyone staying with us. With that, I wish everyone a wonderful spring break next week, and hope the weather holds, and our meeting is adjourned. Thank you.